Hey, it's Tuxedo Mark. It's 11:03 p.m. on Monday, February 15th, 2021. This is my review of episode 3 of The Stand, the 2020 version. And this one's called Blank Page. And there's a bunch of flashbacks in this episode. So, first, I'm going to list like each of the storylines and then try to break those down. All right, so there's Nick, who we were introduced to in the previous episode, but here we get his backstory. He's at a bar, and some guy's offended by him or something, yells at him. Nick can't hear him because he's deaf. The guy starts beating him up, and Nick ends up in the hospital. And when he wakes up from, I guess he was in a coma or something. He slept through the entire plague, basically, pretty much. Um, anyway, he reads from a headline in the newspaper. He kind of gets an idea of what's going on. Now, as it turns out, the guy that fought him at the bar, and by the way, I guess destroyed his right eye, is chained up or handcuffed to a bed in the hospital. He's sick. His throat's all, you know. Um, so Nick, the guy thinks Nick's gonna leave him, but Nick takes pity on him, cleans him up. Um, Also, Nick has a dream of Flag, where Flag's tempting him. You could be my right hand man, which is what he told Lloyd already. Um, and I can make it so you can hear and speak and all that stuff. Nick turns him down. By the way, the Flag uh, dream sequences are interesting. Basically, they appear like in a not in a cave, I guess, but like in a cavernous outdoors area at nighttime, and a spotlight shines down on the person from somewhere in the sky. Um. Anyway, so Nick in in the hospital, when he wakes up, we meet Tom Cullen, and if you remember the '94 miniseries, Tom Cullen was played by Bill Fagerback, who played Dauber on Coach. Um, Here, his appearance is different. Obviously, he's got like brown hair and he's got a mustache and beard, but yeah, he's pretty much the same Tom. So that's how they meet up. I don't think we see how they get to Boulder, but they get to Boulder. Um, we see on how Nadine and Larry meet up. Basically, Joe was already with Nadine and the kid, and Joe attacks Larry. Larry, Nadine wants to go with them. Larry's not sure where he's going. He eventually lets them come along. They hang out at a stadium. Joe takes an interest in guitar, and then he doesn't want to part with it, so Larry lets him keep it. Um, Another storyline that we get is Stu meeting up with Franny and Harold, and then later on, Stu meeting up with Glenn Bateman. Glenn Bateman's a sociology professor. Um, So in the original miniseries, and I don't remember how this is in the novel, but in the '94 miniseries, Stu meets up with Glenn at Glenn's house first, and then Franny and Harold arrive on motorcycles. Here, Stu has been tracking Harold's messages that he's spray painting all over the place. And we got some of that from Larry too. Larry tells Nadine that he's tracking Harold. Anyway, so Stu has located Harold and Franny. They're suspicious of him. Um, Stu's got a rifle. Harold's got a gun. Franny's got a gun. Um, Harold wants nothing to do with him. He's suspicious, and he walks off. And he kind of guilt trips Franny, and Franny's she's more okay with Stu, but still, Stu they part ways. It's like they're not all traveling together. Um, so Stu leaves, and then Glenn's dog finds him. Glenn's dog is named Kojak, and Stu and Glenn meet up. Turns out Glenn's a widower. His wife died around 10 years ago. And she had the idea to put in a generator, an electrical generator for their house, so they've got electricity. He introduces Stu to caviar, which is kind of funny. Stu's never had caviar before. He's like, caviar, what? At first, he doesn't like it, but without even saying anything, he kind of he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then let's see, Glenn smokes weed, which is definitely different from the Glenn Bateman from the '94 miniseries, where he was played by Ray Walston, who you might know as Boothby from that one episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, the groundskeeper from Starfleet Academy. Also, I believe he was Mr. Han in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But anyway, so Glenn is of the opinion that instead of starting everything back up and getting society up and running, that everyone should just chill and kind of just lay low and like smoke some weed or something. Um, let's see. Who else's backstory did we get? Nadine's. In fact, that's how the episode starts. It starts in like '90s because we hear a '90s song. I do remember the name of it offhand, but um, I guess Franny's had a private school, or not Franny, sorry, Nadine's had like a private school, and her friends get her into Ouija. Well, it's not Ouija. It's like it's just the blanket or whatever it's called. It's just a giant blanket. It's not a Ouija board. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of copyright problem or something. I don't know. But they're trying to commune with the spirits or whatever. And basically, Flag communicates with Nadine, and it freaks the other girls out, and they run off screaming. And Nadine's not sure what to make of it, but it writes the message, "Nadine will be my queen." Um, and keep in mind, she's like really little at this point. She's a little girl. Um, so, are those all of the backstories? Probably. Anyway, so in the present time in Boulder, a guy arrives. Well, okay, Stu and Larry are out hunting. A guy arrives in a fancy sports car from Vegas. He's escaped because turns out he had been crucified, and somehow he was able to escape. He his wrists are all bloody. Um, so Mother Abigail is brought to the hospital with and Franny's getting an ultrasound. Then she sees her baby. Okay. Um, so Mother Abigail tries to revive the guy. Flag takes possession of him. There's a freaky scene where a whole bunch of crows splatter against the hospital window, and there's like blood all over. But Flag is like, he quotes like the Three Little Pigs. I'll blow your whole house down. That's kind of dumb, but let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention near the end of the previous episode, Nadine had found a Planket game in the house that she's living in Boulder. So now she's using it. She gets into a dream state. Apparently, she and Flag have been meeting up like this for a while. He wants her to kill the Black Witch, Mother Abigail, along with her five puppets, meaning the five people that she chose to lead Boulder. Which, by the way, they were having an argument about that anyway, and considering having an election to have the people decide. Um, and I think it was Franny that brought up, if we do that, there's a chance that we might lose, and then what? We'd be going against God's will. And Glenn's like, how do you know it's God? I mean, we don't know that Mother Abigail is actually speaking for God. And anyway, it's kind of realistic because if that happened in real life, and there's a prophet claiming that, oh, God chose to spoke to me, and here's what he wants you to do. Everyone would be like, hang on, hang on. Anyway, so the guy dies. And then Harold and Glenn go to bury him. Basically, just they put him in a bag and throw him in a pit with other bodies. And this is when I realized Glenn's been there since like episode 1. He's the guy that wants to set up the movie screenings in Boulder. He's been good collecting DVDs and stuff. I didn't know that was Glenn, mostly because I expected Glenn to be an old man, but they really aged him down for this one. Maybe he's like that in the book. I don't know, but let's see. So when Nadine wakes up from the dream, which Joe has seen and he's kind of suspicious of, she's like, "Oh, it's just a silly game. I'll have to teach you sometime." It turns out the Planket had written the name Harold Lauder on a piece of paper, so Nadine knows who to contact to help her kill all of these people. And it's weird that when Flag tells her to do it, she's like, "Kill? How?" She doesn't even put up an argument about it. She just wants to know how he expects her to be able to do it. So yeah. It's weird that the miniseries, unlike the first miniseries where she was clearly crazy from the beginning, in this one it seems she's a nice person at first. But then now we find out, oh yeah, she's cray cray. Um, let's see. So I believe that's the whole episode. Um, was there anything really else to say except Mother Abigail tells them, "No arguing, you guys are in charge." Um, I think I think that's about it. I was kind of surprised when the credits started rolling. Um, but yeah, it was a good episode. It's just that I'm kind of wondering whether I would be able to understand everything that's going on, be able to follow along if I didn't already know these characters and this story, both from the original novel and from the '94 miniseries. Probably more so from the '94 miniseries because I actually taped that thing and I watched it multiple times back in the day, like back before I got the internet and probably a bit after as well. I didn't have too much to do other than video games and dial up internet, so I would just watch whatever I taped on VHS over and over again. Um, but yeah, I'm very familiar with the original miniseries, so that might have possibly helped me here because if I was just watching this without knowing the story, would I be able to piece everything together? I don't know. Um, there are times when I'm watching now and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that same scene from the original miniseries. Um, yeah. So, well, we're a third of the way through. I've been enjoying it so far. I don't know if I would have edited together this way. I wonder what a chronological edit of this series would look like. It might be an interesting experiment. But anyway, yeah, so it's 11:20 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.